What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Money Moves with Kate. I'm Kate, and today we're going to talk about 5 ways to find multifamily properties that are off market. If that's something that you're interested in, please stay tuned for the video. The first way to find multifamily properties off market is to talk to property managers. Now, property managers are a good way to find off-market properties because they have direct access or a direct line to property owners, okay? So what you want to do here is network. You want to surround yourself and position yourself in a way so that you are able to talk to folks who are in the business of property management. So that could mean simply calling property management companies, telling them who you are, or I would physically go in the office of my local property managers. They actually have offices. Go in their office, talk to them. Give them your card, tell them what you do. It's important here to position yourself appropriately so that they know exactly who to call when the owner of the property that they're managing is ready to sell. Now, I actually have a story with a property manager, right? So I actually wholesaled a duplex that was owned by a property manager, right? So he owned the property. He didn't want the property anymore because it was in shambles. He had multiple units all around the city, but that particular unit, it was abandoned, and he just didn't want anything to do with it because it just cost too much money to repair. So he was ready to get rid of it. I wholesaled that property, or I got that property under contract for $19,000 or $20,000, one of the two. I don't remember. But that was an excellent deal because I profited a pretty penny on it. So keep that in mind. Property managers are in the industry of real estate, right? So you want to surround yourself with folks just like that who have connections and may even have those properties themselves. The next way to find off-market properties is to actually network with owners. But there's a catch. Here's the catch. You want to try to find owners that have owned the property 20 plus years. And there's a couple reasons why, and I'll break it down. One of the reasons why you want to find properties or property owners that have owned the property for 20 plus years is because there's a high likelihood that there's no mortgage on that property, right? So if they own the property for 30 years and they were in a 30-year mortgage, then the property should be around the time to be paid off or really close to it if they've owned it for 20 years, right? Which would allow me to swoop in and try to negotiate a cheaper price because after all, if they still owe $100,000 on a multi-unit property, I swoop in and say, well, it needs a lot of repairs and needs this, and that. Would you take 50? Well, they can't, right? So, because they're still in the mortgage for $100K in my example. So make sure that you try to target those property owners that have owned the property 20 plus years. It's also important to network with these folks who have owned the property 20 plus years is because you can identify their pain points. At this age in their life, they are typically in that retirement phase where they don't want to be landlords any longer, right? They want to be done with the property. They don't want any more tenants, right? They've dealt with everything from non-paying tenants to tenants who have trashed their property, to the fact that they just don't want to be involved any longer. So I try to target those folks, right? And by doing that, I'm identifying their pain points. In fact, I wholesaled a duplex in my local area, and the actual guy was a dentist, and he no longer wanted to be a landlord at all. All he wanted to do was go to the golf course, period. So what did I do? After I knew that was his pain point, that he was just ready to be done with the property, I mentioned golf to him. We built a rapport on golf. I had no idea what I was talking about with golf. I would just ask him simple questions like, hey, did you hit the golf course today or this weekend? The person's name, right? Building that rapport is very solid and very important as well to finding these deals or to securing the deal because they trust you, right? So that's a part of it as well, making sure that the folks you're dealing with, these owners, actually trust you, because if they don't trust you, it doesn't matter if they don't want to be a landlord or not, they're not going to sell you the property. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these off-market properties as well. If this video has given you any type of value, go ahead and do me a favor and like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. It allows me to give you this information and pump it out so that we can all be lifetime learners, all right? Without further ado, let's get back to the video. The next way to find off-market properties is to go through a program called PropStream. Now, PropStream is kind of cool because it allows you to sift through multi-units, single-family units, commercial units, and also it gives you the rental rate in that area and goes over comps. So you look at other comparable homes and see what your home is valued. Talks about the equity. You can skip trace on there and find the owners of these properties. The list goes on of what you can do with PropStream. So give PropStream a try. There is a link in my description You can use my code to get a 14-day free trial. Check it out, see how you like it, and yeah, we'll go from there. But PropStream is excellent to find off-market multi-units or multi-family units. Just an excellent source to find it, so give it a go. The next way to find off-market properties is to look at the property assessment. I know in the past videos I've mentioned property assessment to you guys, but this is an excellent way to find off-market duplexes or multi-units in general, and here is why. It gives a great indicator of the kind of condition the property is in without you having to drive for dollars, right? Without you having to physically get in your car and go try to find these properties. I was able to identify, I have another wholesale story. So I was able to identify a 6-unit that was in harsh condition through the property assessment list. Now, what did I do? I was rummaging through this list, boom. I saw some key things that I try to identify that is actually a multi-unit. I saw it, did a little bit more research, and what do you know? It's a 6-unit of an older person, a more seasoned person, I should say, who has owned the property well beyond 30 years, right? So that all checked out for me. Now, she and her husband did live locally, which I do try to find absentee owners, and I'll talk about that a little later. But for the most part, she was in a position where, again, she just didn't want to be a landlord anymore. So what did I see on that property assessment list that caught my attention? I saw a couple things. One, I saw that it was reported through code violation that the property had a lot excess trash, grass was high and overgrown, that there were roof repairs and certain repairs that were obviously needed to the property, and it just seemed run down just by me reading the description of the violation. So that let me know that pride of ownership was lost a little bit. And after I knew and found out that she owned the property more than 30 plus years, then it let me know, this is a way for me to help her or her family. It was her and her husband. And this is a way for me to kind of get a good deal. And it was 6 units. So I reached out to her and she was so nice. She actually invited me for dinner. I bought her some tea. Like, it was a good, and she still calls me to this day, a good working relationship and good rapport. And she was satisfied with the price that she received. And at that time, again, guys, I messed up and wholesaled this as well. I made a good profit, but I did wholesale it. And I was happy with the wholesale profits that I made, and then the end owner or buyer was definitely really excited about the deal that he just scored, right? 6 units, it was awesome. And I have a spin on this story, which was kind of a bummer, that I may be sharing a different video of my horror stories of wholesaling. But for the most part, this was a good one, and that's an excellent way, is to try to find properties through the property assessment list. The next way to find off-market multi-unit properties is to follow up. Now, I know that sounds pretty simple, but hear me out, right? So following up is very vital, and I'm gonna tell you why. Let's go back to the dentist that I talked about earlier, right? The dentist that all he wanted to do was golf, right? That was the owner of the property, the duplex that I wholesaled. I found that property while I was in Germany. Again, if you don't know, you're new to the channel, I was a wholesaler and started my real estate investing company while we were stationed, we're military, we're retired now, but while we were stationed in Germany. So I found that property while I was in Germany in the area that I'm locally in, and he didn't want to sell at that time. He just wasn't ready at that time. So I said, okay, fast forward a year later, we come back stateside, back in the local area. I still had his number. I called him up and was like, hey, so-and-so, how's it going? And are you willing to sell now? And what do you know? Within a year, things change dramatically, right? And things do change. If you look at our economy right now, we're nearing, some say, a recession. Inflation is killing our pockets. The stock market is up and down. So a lot of folks who are in this age range that I target, their portfolio might be suffering. So they may panic. So they may say, well, I need to sell something so I can have a nest egg in order to, survive during my retirement. So things change. Things change day to day, clearly, but definitely things can change within a year. So although they may not be ready now to sell, give it time and also follow up. Most of my deals happen because I followed up with folks. I called them, I kept their email, I kept their phone number, especially if I could sense that, they were like, kind of in between and kind of in a gray area where they didn't want to sell, but, I would definitely follow up with them. And even the folks that just slam the phone, I'm following up with you too. All right, so keep that in mind to follow up with these folks to see if you can get a deal. That's the end of my video. Thank you so very much for making it to this point. If you've made it to this point, do me a favor and go ahead and type in the comments off market. It allows me to know that you made it to this point and that you're a true supporter of the channel, which I truly do appreciate it. Until next time, guys, you stay blessed. Peace.